Hello YouTube and hello Ninth Age community. This is Charles with Evershade Gaming, and before we get into the battle reports, I wanted to share a little bit about SPIEL.digital. This is an online convention happening later on this month in October. It's going to be virtual. It's going to have all sorts of different events and all sorts of games that are going to be on display, all sorts of things to look at and new games to sort of see and test out and watch people probably test out. And all sorts of different attractions and publishers all coming together at this virtual convention. One of our own members, the Veil of Ninth Ages, he's on the forums. He's Piteglio. I want to say I said that right, Piteglio. He's also going to be having his own booth for the Veil of Ages, and sort of hoping and looking for donations to his Patreon, and wanted to sort of also put the word out there that it's happening and that he's going to be at it, and that you can sort of contact him for more information, and also kind of learn more about it from him too. He's also wanted to mention that there's a Shut Up and Sit Down convention too, which I didn't even know that these guys do conventions. I've seen some of their YouTube channel videos about different games, and I've enjoyed some of their different videos about different games. I know I've watched the Game of Thrones board game when it came out with their expansion for Daenerys, and the Dance of Dragons expansion. I remember watching that and finding it quite informational. So just want to give a shout out to SPIEL.digital. Everyone know what's happening. I'll put all more information in the description of the video, and let's get to the battle report.
This is a Ninth Age battle report between Empire of Sonnstahl and Sylvan Elves. This is actually sort of a follow-up game to the game I posted yesterday, in which my opponent has changed up his list a little bit, and I've kept mine entirely the same. We played Marching Columns and Capture the Flag.
So I'm playing the same Empire of Sonnstahl list I played last time. Didn't make any changes to it. I'm actually starting to quite like this list and the characters, so I wanted to give it another try. My opponent made just minor tweaks. He brought in a Wizard Master of Cosmology with Magical Heirloom, and to do so, he had to cut some points from the Forest Prince. Still kept its offensive ability, but I think it only has like a 2-up arm saving and shooting and a 3-up in combat. So definitely a much more vulnerable model now. Granted, it does have 4 wounds, which is good. And yeah, that's pretty much the biggest change. He also brought in 8 Sentinels instead of the Briar Maids, which is a big change. So, and because my opponent brought in those Fire Maids, those Pathfinders, I mean. Yeah, he's got 8 Pathfinders. That was a new thing. I decided I felt like I needed a Fireball, just to make sure I had some way to answer to that unit, and I love the long range of Fireball too. It's kind of tough because he still has Avatar Nature. I felt like the shooting did pretty good against the Avatar, so I'm just going to try and utilize the rocket batteries to take care of that guy. This is the table we're using. And this is my opponent's spells. So he's also got Cosmology. He's got Touch of the Heart, Perception Strength, Truth of Time, Ultimate Sight, and he's got his Hereditary. So we were playing Marching Columns. So these were our first 3 drops. I got to pick table sides, so my opponent got to start dropping first. And as you can see, we both started with some of our cav. Then he started with his, I think one of his Sentinel units. And then he put an Eagle down. I put down my Riders, and I actually got a building on my side of the field this time. And my Steam Tank, and my 23 Imperial Guard with my BSB in it. And then my opponent put the rest of his list down. So he put his, I think minus maybe his Pathfinders so far, and maybe his Pathfinders are, yeah, actually, no, he hasn't played those yet. So he's got his Eagle behind the Impassable, his Eagle King, and his Avatar Nature in the center of the board, his big block of Forest Rangers in the center of the board, then his second unit of Heath Hunters, his 10 Archers with his Cosmology Wizard, and then his 24 Dryads. And this is looking at my deployments. So I have a rocket battery in the corner. I have my 5 riders in front of that building, my steam tank, my Imperial Guard and BSB, my Wizard Master behind them. In the ruins, I have both my crossbows and my handgunners, and then I have my knights next to my handgunners, and between that hill, I have my 5 electoral cavalry, and then I have another rocket battery. Another kind of shot of the field after vanguards and scouts. So my opponent put down his pathfinders on the side of the knights, and he put down another unit of sentinels to try and get rid of the riders in the field. Another shot, looking at the whole battlefield, and Sylvan Elf turn 1. Not a ton of movement. Mostly because my opponent wanted to get that forest moving towards the center of the board again. He didn't want to make the same mistake he did last time. Kind of just, position just shooting to work on my knights and get rid of my riders. I held back one of my unit riders in the right flank because I'm like, there's nothing they can really do over there against all the sentinels and all the pathfinders. They are going to get targeted by the heath hunters, unfortunately. My opponent gets altered sight on his archers in the middle. And then he gets the force embrace off on the pathfinders. He kills only 2 knights with his pathfinder, so I feel like that wasn't too terrible. He gets 3 riders with his heath hunters, which is bearable. They pass the panic test. And then the sentinels are able to get rid of the riders over here, unfortunately. And the I think the poison guys I think one of them was able to draw Linus. I don't know how he got. Looks like he did a couple wounds to the rocket battery, but I'm not entirely sure how he managed that from this angle. Yeah. Anyway, and then this is going to Empire of Sonnstahl turn 1. So I also didn't really have a lot of movement I wanted to do turn 1. I moved up my Imperial Guard so that I still have 8 inches to my light infantry with handguns. I moved my Wizard Master so he's got range to those Pathfinders and maybe to the Avatar. But definitely the Pathfinders, they were kind of my target turn 1. And then I ran to move my Steam Tank up 5d3. Mostly because I had a play where I wanted to try and get in range of the breath weapon to get rid of the sentinels, and I was able to get in range of them, which I liked. And I figured, not that I didn't want to shoot the Avatar with my cannon, but I was going to be shooting through the forest, so I mean, move, long range, it's like only hitting on a 5-up. It's not too likely to hit, only wounding on a 3-up. I figured I'd just toss rocket batteries, and he's pretty far right now, too. I do get a fireball off. Kill 5 Pathfinders, so that was awesome. And they actually flee and go right there. And then in the shooting phase, I get rid of the Heath Hunters. I can't remember. I feel like with maybe my handgunners. And that actually panics the Forest Rangers. My opponent fails, 2 rolls of this BSB, and they start fleeing. So that was pretty nice, actually, just to have them turn tail and start running right now. So I very much like that. Breath weapon goes. Awesome breath weapon. I get 6 of these sentinels, so they already got half points on them. And at this point, I mean, 2 shots is not really worth it to go after, but definitely worth using the breath weapon there. And this is the end. Oh, and also you can see that I moved my Inquisitor with his repeater pistol over to my riders on the side on my flank there, and they shot, and I want to say they killed 2 of the Heath Hunters, but they didn't panic. But I was okay with that. He rallies both his Pathfinders and his Rangers, and he moves forward. So he kind of really pushes up with his Eagle King and his Avatar. He brings his his other eagle up to start chaffing. And yeah, I think he attempted to charge the steam tank and flank the dryads, but failed that charge, unfortunately. Or more unfortunately for him, he could have held me up for a long time. And that's pretty much it for his turn. Empire of Sonnstahl 2, I kind of just back up a little bit with my Wizard Master, and I back up a little bit with my Imperial Guard. The steam tank moves towards the Avatar, kind of running along his arc of sight so that he can't see me and that I can shoot him. I move up. I move my Rangers over, or my Riders over, I mean, so that they can get rid of these Heath Hunters. They're still able to use the hill as cover, and are blocking line of sight to stay out of these archers. And yeah, that's they're pretty much just gonna unload on the stuff in the middle, or maybe try and get those sentinel points, maybe get rid of that eagle. We got lots of options right now. In the shooting, we're able to get rid of these guys, which was great. With between the repeater, I think actually the Inquisitor hit with Hollis. I think the Inquisitor might have killed them all. And I think we used the handgunners to kill 4 of these guys, so I was pleased with that. And I'm able to get rid of the eagle with the crossbows too, so that was good too. Actually, I think I might have used, I think the crossbows and a rocket battery had to do it, but I feel like it's worthwhile. And I think I do have 3 wounds on the Avatar right now. I can't remember if that came from the steam tank or a rocket battery. Either way, one of those got through and put 3 wounds on him. So the Avatar Nature is charging on the Sylvan Elves turn 3 now into my Imperial Guard, and the Eagle King is coming too. I can't exactly remember who I stand and shot against. I want to say I blew all my load against the Eagle King because he was coming in first, and he does make it, but the Avatar doesn't, thankfully. So that was actually very much okay with that. I don't think the Eagle King can really do a lot on his own, and that leaves the Avatar in a vulnerable spot for the steam tank. So he moves his Rangers up really aggressively, and he moves his shooting over to continue trying to get rid of some of my Knights. And yeah, we're just sort of in combat. He's got his Sentinels on the left here creeping up on my rocket battery. Their goal at this point is just to try and get rid of that piece. And yeah, those Dryads are trying to get to that steam tank. He puts Perception of Strength on my steam tank to lower my strength, which is not a bad idea. And then he gets Force Embrace off on his Eagle King, or his Force Prince on an Eagle King. He does another wound over here. I lose another Knight over here. And then we go into combat, and I just issue a challenge with my BSB because I've got a wonderful rollable. He's only AP 3, and it's a pillow fight. We do break him though. He flees to be right about there, which I was a little bit bummed about. It's good, but I kind of wanted to get into the Avatar. But obviously getting the Eagle King is good itself. So on Empire of Sonnstahl turn 3, I just put Brace for Impact and Steady Men on my Imperial Guard because they're definitely probably going to be in combat next turn. I think I was able to give accurate to maybe my crossbowmen. They might have been within 8 inches of the unit with the Banner of Unity, but the handgunners definitely were out. And we random move into the Eagle King, get rid of him, which is great. And yeah, this is how we're looking. Sort of just setting up the Knights to countercharge. I bring my Riders out with my Inquisitor to get rid of the Pathfinders at this point. Maybe kind of also interested in getting rid of the Sentinels if I can, but we'll see. I've got shooting lined up. At this point, I'm sort of just looking at the Avatar thinking, gotta get rid of this guy because he's right in front of my Imperial Guard. I feel like the Imperial Guard can go toe-to-toe with the Rangers because, again, they sort of just pillow fight each other in that he's hitting me on 5s. I'm hitting him on 4s, 5s if he gets a spear thing on. And so it's kind of just a big pillow fight, and we've got a lot of ranks and attack. So, but the Avatar gets in there too. He'll crunch through them. So I definitely want him dead by the end of this turn. I get an Ice and Fire off, kill 4. And then I get Perception of Strength off on my Imperial Guard. Or I want to say, I feel like I attempted that and I did not get that. And I did get Unity of Vergence off on the Rangers. And I do take out almost another rank or so, which was good. I'm able to get rid of the Pathfinders with my Riders and my Inquisitor. That panics the Sentinels, which was nice. Not quite what I was expecting, but that worked. They flee. They don't take any damage going through that impassable terrain, unfortunately, and they end up right there. And this is going into Sylvan Elves turn 4. He brings his Dryads into the Steam Tank. And, as you can see, I was only able to put one more wound on the Avatar that last round. So he comes in with the Rangers into the Imperial Guard. He gets Touch to the Heart off to get rid of Wound, which was a tough one to let go. Which actually looks like it did get Perception of Strength off on my Imperial Guard. That was pretty good. And I take a couple wounds, I think, between the shooting. My Wizard Master. This thing's taken up a couple more wounds. And then this is after combat. Actually, I want to say this is after the... No, I think this is after combat, yeah. On my turn, or on his turn, yes, you can see it's relatively bloody. I felt like I took a good chunk out of the Rangers. He took a big chunk out of me. I think he got a big stomp with his Avatar. Yeah, pretty tough. Yeah, this might be after the Avatar. Either way, or this actually might be combat on his turn, which, no, I want to say this was after the Avatar. Steam Tank kills some of the Dryads, but, again, this is going to take forever. My turn 4, Empire of Sonnstahl turn 4, I bring my Knights into the flank of the Rangers. And, yeah, as you can see, we fought another combat, and I'm down a little bit more. And he's got 2 Rangers and his BSB left. And the Avatar, who's got 2 wounds left. Another kind of slog right here. These guys charge in. Put Perception of Strength up on... Or I think he puts Perception of Strength up on my Knights. This guy was getting shot at, and he kept tipping over, but he is not dead. He's just a very heavy model on a weird part of the board. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. He was getting shot at, but my opponent just is plinking arrows off him. He's got a 1 armor save. Going back into that combat, we are able to break and run down. We actually pretty much come down to just the BSB left. And he flees, and we catch him with the Knights, and we try to catch the Avatar with the Imperial Guard, but we're not able to, because he surprisingly broke from combat. Yeah, I want to say my opponent, yeah, the BSB broke just on combat res, and he rolled him first, and then he rolled the Avatar, and the Avatar broke. Yeah, that was pretty surprising, actually. And they were still slogging against the Dryads. These Sentinels kill the Imperial Rocketeer. And this is going into Empire of Sonnstahl turn 5 now. I went and killed, I think, the Sentinels up here. And I was able to get rid of the Avatar with my shooting between a rocket batter and I think all of the light infantry were able to just sort of unload and plink off the last couple wounds, which was great. My Inquisitor charged the Dryads to help out the Steam Tank. We only kind of another light phase. We only kill a couple Dryads. My opponent, sort of not wanting to give up, decides to charge his archers into the Imperial Guard. He puts Perception of Strength off to make it as good as possible for himself. The Sentinels kill a couple crossbows. Pretty much another pillow fight. I think it looks like I killed 1 archer and he didn't kill any of me, but they break. We're able to beat the Dryads and then run them down with the steam tank. Actually, random move to them, random move into them. The next Empire of Sonnstahl turn 6, and at the end of the game, I'm able to take off all my opponent's models. The Imperial Guard pursue the fleeing archers and Wizard Master, and able to catch them. And then this guy marches all the way over here, shoots his repeater pistol, gets 2 hits, 2 wounds, and kills the last 2 sentinels. And that's the end of the game.
Game ends up being a 20-0 Empire victory. I actually forgot that on my turn 4, when my knights charged into the flank of the Forest Rangers, I actually charged my wizard into the front of the Avatar Nature. And I was hoping the wizard would survive, and I ended up getting killed by the Avatar Nature. However, that did end up sparing my Imperial Guard and helping me a lot out to eventually win that combat. But I kind of forgot that's how the wizard disappeared. Anyway, just a random extra tidbit of information at the end of the game. Thank you everybody for watching. Please go check out the SPIEL.digital stuff if you're interested in virtual conventions. And we'll see you all soon with another 9th Age Battle Report.